Every year, Hallmark fills us with traditional small-town, hot cocoa-fueled romance stories that we all love. This year, they produced 50 new Christmas films, and I watched them all. Included in this list are 3 Hallmark Christmas in July films, 31 movies on the Hallmark Channel's Countdown to Christmas, 9 movies on the Hallmark Mysteries and Miracle of Christmas, and 7 movies on Hallmark Plus. Today, we are going to rank all of the 2024 Hallmark films from the worst to the best. And spoiler alert, if you haven't watched these films, they end with a kiss at the end. 50. A Novel Noel. Harper takes a sabbatical from her job as a book editor after being chosen to run a bookstore over the Christmas holiday. After an initial disagreement with the owner's son Sawyer, she rediscovers her passion for helping him publish his book. Let's review what I just said. Harper, played by Julie Gonzalo, is chosen to work for free at a bookstore over Christmas. She volunteered to work at this bookstore. There's nothing special or unique about the store with the exception that they also serve wine, something she becomes offended about when she learns it. Brendan Penny as Sawyer also doesn't seem to care about the books, but his passion is wine until we learn that he also likes to write. If this store is so special, then why do either of the characters continue to close the store for Christmas activities? There's nothing special about this store, and we don't know why there's an 8-year waiting list to volunteer to work at it. It's a dumb premise, and I couldn't get over it, so it was automatically going to be my worst film. Hold your horses or dogs for the next one. 49. And Happy Holidays. Mia, a former doctor still haunted by the death she caused, works now at the Seattle Tourism Board. She rescues a strayed dog and decides to drop the animal at the local dog shelter. She crosses paths with dog shelter owner Max, who's unhappy that Mia is willing to give up on the dog. After a video of their dog love goes viral, Mia and Max begin to work together to help save the financially strapped animal shelter. Alright, so I didn't watch Hallmark Plus series Finding Mr. Christmas, so I have no thoughts if Ezra was the right candidate for the job.
Thanks. You're welcome, Mr. Christmas.
If he was the best, I wonder how bad the other contestants really are. The movie was just painful to watch, and I should have ranked it dead last, but Novel Noel had such a bad storyline, I had to rank this one higher. Don't get me wrong, everything about this movie was unwatchable.
Unbelievable.
48. 5 Gold Rings. Audrey's grandmother passes away, leaving her with an unfinished mission to find the owners of the lost 5 gold rings. She connects with Flynn, a private eye investigator, to help identify the rings' owners and return them before Christmas. I can't stand 2 types of Hallmark story tropes: planning an event and returning lost jewelry to owners before Christmas. Hallmark has made numerous movies over the past few years where our couple solves the mystery of a family heirloom, and they are all boring. There's nothing bad about the acting performances or how this film was shot. The film is just boring. The only scene that kept my attention was when they randomly joined in a building of a snowman with a kid they didn't know. Where are these kids' parents? This movie featured 5 different rings, with the first one not returned until halfway through the film. When they are returned, I don't even think the owners seemed to care, and neither did I. 47. Joyful Mrs. Miracle. A younger Mrs. Miracle appears to help 3 adult siblings decide on which one will become the executive director of the board of their grandmother's estate. Rachel Boston, as Mrs. Miracle, poses as an estate planner, but hopes to rekindle the siblings' bond, make a payment to a bookie, and maybe find love. Mrs. Miracle is Hallmark's Mary Poppins, who appears to a family in need to solve a problem and bring joy at Christmas. Doris Roberts was the first person to portray the character. She portrayed the nanny as an angel or a grandmother. Carolyn Ray played her more like Mary Poppins with a fun magical bag. And we don't talk about Mr. Miracle.
Hi, Doc.
Rachel Boston is nothing like the other versions of Mrs. Miracle. She played it less as a nanny and more of a negotiator to three spoiled, privileged adults. Rachel is the best part of this, but the problem is that the story is about deciding who will be a CEO of a company. Compare that to the first movie, where James Vanderbeek needs to overcome his grief and play the piano for a school play, and you can see why this movie was a mess. 46. Falling like snowflakes. Tegan, a photographer who takes pictures of snowflakes, is propositioned by an art collector looking to buy all of her snowflake photographs, allowing her to fix the classroom heat. She must photograph the lucid 12th-side stellar dendrite snowflake to complete her collection. Enlisting the help of former astrometric scientist turned snowplow driver Noah, they drive through the snowstorm, hoping to capture a picture of the rare snowflake. Marcus Rosner and Rebecca Dalton were fine. They didn't have a lot of chemistry, and I wonder why they feel the need to make Marcus's character Noah a former meteorologist turned snowplow driver. It's almost like a snowplow driver is not a good enough job. Getting lost in a snowstorm looked ridiculous, and I'm not sure why we needed the other photographer trying to steal Tegan's ideas. When I read the initial synopsis, I rolled my eyes, but the film, it was better than I thought it was going to be. It's not a great film, and I found a severe lack of Christmas, except the thin Santa Claus who cosplays as Scrooge. It was not a strong kickoff to Christmas in July, and not one I'm going to watch again. 45. Believe in Christmas. Megan Ori is Beatrice, who reluctantly joins her friend Amelia on a trip to the magical world of Christmas Land, where everyone comes away with a magical experience. Beatrice is skeptical about how real the town is and believes that the town's residents, including Ethan, the son of the innkeeper, are actors giving the visitors the perfect Christmas. There's a better movie here that I want to see. The Truman Show meets a Hallmark film where all the residents are actors and are tasked with making sure visitors are giving a great experience. The local hunk falls for the single female visitor who discovers that Christmas Land is not real. What we got is a poorly executed version of that movie with real-life couple Megan Ori and John Reardon, and you question, does he really like her or not?
In case I don't see ya, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
44. Private Princess Christmas. Princess Violet of Wingravia is sent by her mother, the Queen, to a leadership boot camp in Colorado for her to learn what it means to be a responsible leader. If she doesn't pass the boot camp, her mother will give the throne to her uncle. Run by Captain Ryan Douglas, Violet and the other cadets are put through a rigorous training full of challenges. Alyssa Scovey as Princess Violet should have been an awful person in the beginning. She's spoiled, but not enough that I think required a boot camp. I enjoyed that they included other awful campers, but why couldn't they all be royals? Let's just make it silly, give it a dumb premise, and not take itself seriously. Make it a take on the Police Academy films, but with princes and princesses. I love the royal movies. The idea that a royal goes undercover, falls in love, and the significant other also becomes a royal is a great trope. Private Princess Christmas does not live up to its potential. It had so many great opportunities to embrace a campy, crazy story, and at some point, the movie just took itself too seriously and lost my interest as well. 43. Deck the Walls. Interior designer Rose is contacted for help by her brother Sal to help renovate a house back in their hometown. He is working with his business partner Bryson, played by Wes Brown, a handyman who she clashes with, making it a struggle to complete the home renovation. Wes Brown and Ashley Greene work well together, but I struggled so hard to care about this storyline. Flipping the house before Christmas seems like a test nobody should be doing, especially when there are Christmas cookies to make and decorating to do. Hallmark movies that include house repair or flipping a home somehow always get accomplished with nobody seen doing the actual work, and the solution is to make the house more livable is usually just acquiring a Christmas tree and decorating the home for Christmas. 42. Deck the Halls on Cherry Lane. The fourth Cherry Lane movie explores a few years in the future with Erin Cahill's Lizzie and her husband John, played by John Brotherton, as their family may need to move away from Cherry Lane. Meanwhile, in 1966, neighbor Stephanie convinces the current Cherry Lane owner to allow Tommy Saunders' Christmas Eve TV special broadcast live from his house. Lastly, we get a story of Matt and Rebecca discovering that they are in love as they attempt to solve who is behind the neighborhood random acts of kindness. I kind of enjoyed the craziness of the Tommy Saunders Christmas Eve live TV show, but the other two storylines focused on a family possibly moving away and solving the mystery of who shoveled somebody's snowy sidewalk. Not the most riveting storylines. Not even Brooke D'Orsay and Sam Page could make the neighborhood performing a good deed story interesting. The initial connection between the different families is also nothing special. If Hallmark wants to do more Cherry Lane movies, then they should choose a new house and come up with a more clever way to connect the owners to the magical home. 41. Unwrapping Christmas, Tina's Miracle. Tina, one-fourth owner of the successful gift wrapping business, has been put in charge of planning the annual Christmas gala at the Alford House Estate. Tina learns that the estate was sold and that the gala can no longer be held there. She meets Michael and his photo-taking daughter, whose company has sold the estate, and helps her save the gala, preventing the sale from happening. The first of the Hallmark Plus Unwrapping movies did not begin well. It's a combination of planning the event, saving the local landmark, and a change of heart from the big bad property developer trope. What is puzzling is that I assumed that the other three Unwrapping film storylines would all tie together with the planning of the gala, but spoiler alert, they don't. Natalie Hall is one of my favorite leading ladies, and she deserves a better film. She had no chemistry with Michael Alonso, and it led to me really not caring if they got together. 40. To Have and the Holiday. Celeste brings her boyfriend of 3 months home for Christmas, where Jason impulsively proposes to get married in her father's, Pastor Mark's church. He insists on having them complete his wedding boot camp, featuring Christmas-themed challenges, and the biggest challenge, gaining his acceptance. Maybe I'm just getting older, but these two actors look very young. In actuality, they are both in their late 20s. But while I agree with Celeste and Jason rushed to get engaged, the parents needed to let them make that decision on their own. This is the third movie this year to feature a significant other attempting to impress his future in-laws, and it's the worst one. Pastor Mark is awful. He goes out of his way to make Jason's life miserable, and he's a man of the cloth. I've also had a hard time including my personal experiences and opinions in this one, and to put it at this spot in the ranking is being kind. 39. Reason for the Season. Evie was born in a diner on Christmas Eve when her mother can't make it to the hospital and is helped by several town residents. Fast forward years later, and Evie is tasked with granting a wish from every person that aided her mother, including the diner owner, a police officer, and a doctor. With the help of Cal, a local attorney, they track down everybody, and if successful, Evie will earn her trust fund. Taylor Cole is really good when it counts. In the beginning, we are made to believe that her character of Evie doesn't care, but that isn't consistent. She has a good chemistry with Kevin McGarry and the secondary cast, specifically the diner owner Jack, who gives you a few feels when he recognizes her.
I thought this one might have a particular significance. You look just like your mom.
I was so high on this film watching it until I came to the realization that Hallmark wants us to care about a very well-off woman who, if she grants wishes, will get even richer for doing a good deed. That's messed up, and I continue to question why the writers want us to feel good about this selfish, privileged woman. Sure, she has an arc, where she begins to understand the importance of giving, but her reward also includes a large amount of money. 38. A Very Vermont Christmas. Katie Leclerc plays Joy, a championship skier who returns home to manage and run her family's pub after the death of her father. Competition from the competing brewery is making it challenging to stay afloat, but with the help of Zach, Joy develops a new Christmas IPA with a secret ingredient. If I had one big complaint about this movie, it's the lack of Christmas in this film. Yes, we get a festive IPA beer brewed with pine needles, and her bar, Mogul Joe's, is decorated for Christmas, but we don't have any Christmas activities. The beer contest that will save the bar takes place on Christmas Eve, but other than the dollar bills hanging in the bar, we don't get a real connection to it. Katie Leclerc and Ryan McPartlin have some decent chemistry with each other, but what I was most excited about was the movie Brewing Beer. So many of the Hallmark movies focus on drinking wine that I may have gotten a little overexcited for a movie about beer. I like this movie more than others, and I'm not apologetic about it, but I also know where it ranks. The only part I didn't care for was when they took a jab at pumpkin beer.
After it boils, we add any special ingredients like, cinnamon, clove, nutmeg, pumpkin.
You don't like pumpkin?
People like pumpkin.
37. Season greetings from Cherry Lane. Jonathan Bennett's Mike and Vincent Rodriguez Zion are secretly arranging a special Christmas present for each other in the home of Cherry Lane. 20 years before that, we see a newly married couple dealing with in-laws and Christmas traditions, and in 1951, a doctor who will be shipped over to Korea during the war attempts to make his wife's Christmas Eve special. Out of all the different storylines, the only one I cared about is Mike and Zion's storyline of the missing grandfather. Jonathan Bennett, along with Robert Maloney's Quinn, searching for Zion's long-lost relative gave me a lot of laughs.
I've got... Do not say good news and bad news, because unless there's an elderly Filipino man hiding in the back of your truck, it is all bad news.
I only wish we would have seen the grandfather enjoying them all. I struggled to care about any of the other storylines, particularly the newly married couple in-law issues, which had me asking so many questions but don't care about the answers. How will all three storylines tie together at the end? Unfortunately, I watched the entire movie to find out. Last year's Cherry Lane was a standout of the season. The premise was new and innovative for Hallmark, but after watching this first movie of the 3 new Cherry Lane films, I already find the premise tiring. 36. Unwrapping Christmas, Olivia's Reunion. Olivia makes a delivery an hour away, shocked when her ex-boyfriend Ben answers the door. On the way back, a sudden snowstorm makes the road undrivable, preventing her from going out of town. Leaving her no choice, Olivia returns to Ben's cabin to ride out the storm. As it worsens, they become trapped, fearing that Olivia will miss the Christmas gala. Sorry for being blunt, but this movie is fairly boring. There's only so much to do when the characters are trapped in a cabin. Fixing radiators and making eggs is not really exciting. What I was confused about, though, was Ben's mother's hatred of Olivia, when I thought for sure she planned on having her deliver the gifts to get them back together. This is a pretty old Hallmark story trope. The ex-couple rekindles their romance, trapped in a situation, and forces them to get along. With capable actors, the film can work. Luckily, Cindy Busby and Jake Epstein make the best of this story. However, both actors had more chemistry with store owner Jen than each other. 35. My Sweet Austrian Holiday. American Charlotte relocates to Vienna to run her grandparents' historical chocolate shop, only to learn that a greedy real estate company is buying the building and forcing the business to relocate. She meets Henry, who is unaware that his father's company is the one evicting the shop. I knew 5 minutes into this film all the different story points we would hit, and here they are. The woman inherits a business. A greedy property developer buys up the building and evicts the historical business. Women's shop owner falls in love with a man who owns the property. Woman finds out that the man works for the property developer. They work towards finding an alternative option to save the business while still making the property developer rich. We get a kiss at the end. That being said, Will Kemp and Brittany Bristow do what they can with this movie. Saving the shop from the big bad greedy property developer is a tired, overused story trope that's not interesting or very festive. 34. All I Need for Christmas. Mallory Jensen is Maggie, a struggling singer-songwriter who's cut from a big tour and is released from her booking agent. She returns home to her family tree farm where she meets app entrepreneur Archer, attempting to relive his favorite Christmas and count his cash that he will become CEO of his father's company. I want to know what year this movie takes place because they act like people no longer have smartphones. Maggie still uses a flip phone and is against all technology. I get that she would not be supportive of AI or autotune, but it doesn't feel real. There's plenty of apps that do great things to record for local artists. Mallory hasn't been in a Hallmark Christmas film since 2020 with the 12 Dates of Christmas with Tyler Hines, and I loved her in that film. This movie, though, is just boring. Emily Tennant plays the estranged sister of Archer, competing for the CEO spot, and was fantastic as Abby in last year's Holiday Hotline.
I'm not sure if my turkey's going to be ready in time.
What state is your turkey in?
Florida?
Both Emily and Mallory deserve a better film. 33. Leah's Perfect Gift. Leah is excited that her boyfriend Graham has invited her home to her parents' house for the holiday. Growing up Jewish, Leah has always celebrated Hanukkah and is looking forward to experience Christmas for the first time. She discovers that Graham's mom is not welcoming and does not embrace change. What I will add to the description of this film is that Leah discovers that her boyfriend has no backbone and won't defend her to his mother. Graham and his entire family allow his mother, played by Barbara Niven, to disrespect her. She's unbearable, and for the first time, I hated Barbara Niven's character in a Hallmark movie. This is another movie this year where the significant other's initial meeting of the parents takes place at Christmas, and it's awful. It's a shame because Emily Arluck as Leah is the only good part of this film. She gets her perfect gift of a proposal at the end, but I question, how perfect is it really when you have to be part of this family? 32. Unwrapping Christmas, Mia's Prince. On a late night after the stores close, Mia accommodates a customer who needs a gift quickly wrapped. He offers her the opportunity to give a demonstration at his mother's party, giving her a $100 bill as payment. The next morning, Mia is unsure the interaction happened, or another one of her romantic dreams. She discovers he is real, and is the local philanthropist, Beau Kavanaugh, the spitting image of the prince from her favorite book, Christmas in Derbyshire. I'm not sure what the goal of the unwrapping movies is. Each woman finds a romantic love at the same time and joins together at the gala at the end, but they don't interact with each other very much, and Mia goes on a journey to meet her prince. It's a very different storyline from the others, and it really focuses on acquiring this rare book than planning a gala with her business friends. I really like the character of Mia, and Catherine Davis plays the part of the dreamer well, and I didn't understand why Mia would want to be part of the Kavanaugh family. 31. Happy Holidays from Cherry Lane. We see the relationship origin of the original Cherry Lane's Catherine Bell's Regina and James Denton's Nelson, the handyman, not the plumber, who becomes stuck at Regina's home when his truck won't start, attempting to solve her plumbing issues. The second story features Jessie planning her sister's last-minute Christmas Eve wedding at the house and reconnecting with her high school boyfriend. The final story features Benjamin Ayres' Eli attempting to get along with his curmudgeonly father Walter, played by Serge Howd, and helping his son put together a family time capsule. This is the best of the 3 Cherry Lane movies from Hallmark Plus, and it's still not a great film. I didn't find the relationship origin of Regina and Nelson all that interesting, especially when we learn that the time capsule from Benjamin Ayres' storyline was the reason for the plumbing issues. I also question how they put together the backyard wedding so quickly. Neither of those stories worked for me. But how wonderful is Benjamin Ayres as Eli? The struggle he portrays in talking with his father is so good that I wanted more. The reality of a father and son not getting along, yet you see the love and care Walter has for his grandson. I've had enough of the Cherry Lane films, but I hope Hallmark looks at what worked in these films and what didn't. And if they do revisit them, focus on the interesting stories of family relationships. 30. 'Tis the season to be Irish. Rose, on a whim, purchases a cottage in Ireland to renovate. Upon her arrival, she meets Sean, the realtor who sold her the property, and determines that Rose preserves the cottage to the town's heritage. Together, she begins to embrace the Irish Christmas traditions, fall in love with the country, and Sean. The film showcases the beauty of Ireland, including the Cliffs of Moher, the country's most iconic natural landmark. The village and the Irish pub were all amazing to look at. All that amazing scenery, though, won't put you in the Christmas spirit. The movie is not very Christmassy, with the exception of how Rose fixes up the cottage by decorating it for the holiday. Maybe I lost interest and stopped paying attention. Was Sean actually able to enforce the town requirements on the cottage? I couldn't bring myself to rewatch this just to get the answer. Everything should work in this movie except the relationship between Rose and Sean, and because of that, even the beautiful scenery couldn't save it. 29. Unwrapping Christmas, Lily's Destiny. Lily is going to go on a date with realtor Owen, the town's most eligible bachelor, something she has been looking forward to. But before that, she was interviewed by magazine writer Sean, who is writing an article about the gift wrapping business with which she has a deep connection. This is a simple story where Lily likes the other guy but feels pressured to like the more successful realtor. However, that guy is arrogant, obnoxious, and full of himself. It's clear to the audience who is the better man, but it takes Lily more than an hour to realize it. There's not much to this movie. I like Ashley Newbro and Torrance Coombs together, and I get why he would be intimidated by her, but not sure why she was so hesitant to inquire if he is single. The third unwrapping movie for me was the best of the four. I also watched them out of order and saw how the series ends. Spoiler alert, it really doesn't matter. 28. Trading Up Christmas. Italia Ricci is Michelle, who has a plan to help her sister find a new place to live. Starting with just a Christmas stocking, she sets out to trade items for something greater until she can ultimately acquire a house. Local newspaper reporter Dan, played by Michael Xavier, covers the story and helps her quest gain attention. The story is loosely based on a real event of a guy who took a simple red paperclip and traded it up to own a house after a year. Hallmark took that idea and kind of ruined it by making it happen in 10 days with a goal by Christmas. They also had the reporter Dan making some of the trades for her, which I found as an odd choice. Talia Ricci and Michael Xavier are fine, but I don't blame the actors. I think the writing was off on this one. This could have been a film with big emotional moments, but with the inclusion of the brother and the villainous newspaper editor, we don't have any interesting trades for the actors to play off of. 27. Christmas Under the Lights. Emily returns home to the family farm, helping her brother organize the annual Christmas festival, something her mother hosted every year. Now that her mother has passed away, Emily relives moments with her mom, struggling the fact that she is gone and never enjoying living on the farm. When she returns, she meets Luke, an artist and farmhand who helps her with the festival and life. Several Christmas movies this year fall back on older generic Hallmark story tropes, and this movie feels very 2014 Hallmark. You have Emily returning to her small hometown from the big city, planning an annual Christmas festival, struggling with the death of her mother, and analyzing her career path, and at the end, choosing to stay and start a new career within a week. There's nothing special about this film. It's fine. The performances of Heather Hemmings and Marco Grazzini are fine. I did enjoy the moments where Emily relived conversations she had with her mother as a child and as an adult. That was interesting, but then we transitioned right back to her making phone calls to plan a Christmas festival. 26. Scouting for Christmas. Tamara Mallory is Angela, a single mother working as a real estate agent, raising her adopted daughter while her ex-husband is working overseas. She wants to help her daughter's Sunny Scout troop and have William, a baker played by Carlo Marx, sell baked goods at the Winter Carnival. I'm not sure what the problem is with bringing an amazing baker to sell goods at a Winter Carnival. I'm also not sure why William is so invested in it. And I'm also not sure why the troupe wouldn't accept all the vendors that they could get. It's a weird premise that I'm not sure any of the actors really felt invested in, except her ex-husband Dakota, played by James Palladino. When you first meet him through an online call, he seems like a good dad. When he arrives back at Angela's house, it's almost like he's a different character. It was a strange character change, but it did bring some much-needed interest to the story. 25. Trivia at St. Nick's. During the winter break, when the students head home for the holidays, the faculty at Hampstead University in Vermont gather at Nick's Bar for the annual Christmas Trivia Tournament. Celeste, the astronomy professor, leads the team of her colleagues every year, but is forced to bring in football coach Max when one of them drops out. I understand looking forward to Christmas traditions every year, and it's clear that the trivia contest is Celeste's. I would probably join in the tradition only if it was one night, but this tournament takes place over multiple nights and possibly a week. That's just too much bar trivia, and the reality would be that others would most likely bail as well. This movie started off strong with great dialogue and fun characters, and then something happened and the movie just kind of slowed down and got boring. It felt like the movie was stretched for time and that they were looking for any opportunity to create suspense. My brother, who's a professor, felt that the characters were pretty accurate. And he said to me, "Yep, that's how professors act." 24. following Yonder Star. Brooke D'Orsay is Abby Marshall, an actress known for her role on a long-running TV show. She has a scandal where she refuses to pay for an ornament, and the video goes viral, canceling her. She retreats to a Vermont bed and breakfast where she meets the owner Tom, played by John Brotherton, who doesn't care about Abby's scandal and asks for her assistance in directing the local church pageant. The cast in this movie was fantastic. Brooke and John embraced these characters and gave 2 solid performances.
Please help me do right by Natalie and Lucy and help. Just help guide me to do the right choice. I've been walking in the dark a long time. I can really use some light.
John's character Tom, praying, felt real, while in a moment of sadness, Brooke cried with real tears. I am not a fan of these Dayspring movies. The track record of these films has been pretty bad. I don't like being preached to, and I don't respond to coincidences labeled as miracles. That being said, the movie was pretty good. Yes, it has its religious overtones, and it didn't try to preach to me and telling me what I should be doing. 23. Operation Nutcracker. Lottie, a detail-oriented event planner, works with Tristan to plan a charity auction for a priceless nutcracker his super-rich family has donated. Through a merry mix of suitcases at the airport, the rare nutcracker is lost, initiating Operation Nutcracker, searching for the lost auction item and developing a romance between Lottie and Tristan. I'm surprised I like this movie. I fear to be more about event planning than searching for the priceless nutcracker. Ashley Newborough and Christopher Russell are beautiful people and have great chemistry with each other. We meet Dave, whose suitcase was excellently switched with Tristan, containing the rare nutcracker. He gives it to his daughter, who eventually returns it only to be gifted it back by Santa Claus. I would have preferred the location of the nutcracker to be a mystery, with Tristan and Dottie following leads to trace its whereabouts. The only real search they do is to place several flyers around town. We get a few near misses, but because we all know they will eventually find it, it's a little less interesting. 22. Confessions of a Christmas Letter. Angela Kinsey from The Office plays Seti Rose, determined to finally win her town's annual holiday letter writing contest. She hires Juan, a struggling writer, to craft the letter in secret as he fake dates her daughter Lily. The marketing for this movie promoted the connection to The Office, with Brian Baumgartner making a special appearance. It screamed desperation, hoping to capitalize on fans of the show, hoping to see an Office connection. Perhaps Brian eating or making chili. The overall premise about writing a Christmas letter sounded boring as well. I didn't have much hope going into this movie, but I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it, and I cared about Juan and Lily's relationship. Angela Kinsey was wonderful, and luckily Brian Baumgartner's cameo was chili-free. I had a lot of laughs throughout this film, but the best and possibly funniest moment in all of these films is when Grandma serves her overbaked cinnamon rolls.
These are my famous cinnamon buns. Secret family recipe. Oh. Dig in.
Oh, here, let me get that anyway.
21. Hanukkah on the Rocks. Tori, an overworked lawyer, is let go from her job, giving her free time to finally spend with her grandmother. In search of the best Hanukkah candles, she meets Jay, leading her to Rocky's bar, where she takes on the job of a bartender and transforms the bar into a Hanukkah celebration destination with a secret owner. Spoiler alert, the bar owner is Sam, played by Nickelodeon's Double Dare host Mark Summers. I don't really understand why that was a big secret, and I promise you it won't ruin the movie for you. Speaking of Mark Summers, I was not expecting him to have such a prominent role in the film. I thought we were in for a quick cameo where he mentions Double Dare or Green Slime. The Hallmark Hanukkah films have been a highlight every year, but honestly, this movie fell a little flat for me. Maybe my expectations were too high. Stacey Farber and Darren Kegasoff had good chemistry, and I didn't have very many complaints. It's a fine movie, and I enjoyed watching it, but it was just a little too old Hallmark feeling with new career directions, saving the business, and planning the event tropes that kind of made this movie feel flat. 20. Holiday Mismatch. Barbara, a recent retiree, volunteers with a Christmas committee where she clashes with unorganized and free-spirited Kath. Unknowingly, they both set up their adult children using a dating app. When they discover that their children are dating each other, they are determined to stop their relationship from moving forward. As they begin to meddle in their relationship, the two women begin to build a friendship. For Sabrina the Teenage Witch fans, the reunion of Carolyn Ray and Beth Broderick is a welcome sight. They play off each other so well and are extremely funny. The film benefit from making the primary story focused on the moms and the tension between them. I also found it refreshing that the children weren't dumb and realized what their mothers were doing. Maxine Dennis and John McLaren, who play the adult children Shane and Lauren, have a cute relationship with nebby mothers, leading to an interesting take on a fake dating relationship. They were so good that I also think they could probably have put the full focus on them without the mother storyline meddling in their relationship. 19. This time each year. Lauren and Kevin have been separated for over a year, co-parenting their son, Charlie. They have no plans to get together until Lauren's mother's cruise plans unexpectedly change. Afraid to tell her the truth, Lauren has Kevin pretend that they are still together. There are a lot of topics addressed in this film: divorce, lying, trust, and alcoholism. Neil Mader's character Kevin is the cause of most of these issues. It's hinted he has a problem with alcohol, and I wish the writers would have explored this further. It would have given us the reason for their separation, and would have been a far better story than Lauren lying to her mother. The performances are solid in this film, including the secondary cast. Alison Sweeney's Christmas films have not been very good these last few years. While her character of Lauren is not a bad person, she does have issues to deal with. This leads to a storyline that I became invested in, and I found very satisfying. 18. A Dance in the Snow. Melanie is looking to get involved with her autistic daughter Jenny's high school dance planning committee, hoping to make it a more welcoming experience for the autistic students. After a bad experience the year before, Jenny and her friends secretly plan their own dance, building a relationship with Will, who is also on the spectrum. Every year, Hallmark gives us a few sentimental movies that tug at your heart, and for the past few years, they have told stories focusing on the autistic community. Last year, we got Nikki DeLoach's A World Record Christmas about Charlie's goal for breaking a world record in Jenga. This year, we got a fantastic performance by Vanessa Berghart as Jenny, who is ambitious and determined to make the dance inclusive to all with no snow. Erica Serra is Jenny's mother, who not only constantly protects her daughter, but also runs a center for autistic children. She's a super mom, and while I thought her relationship with Jenny's teacher was going to be unnecessary, it turned out to work really well. I can't speak of how real the film was to people with autism, but with the two autistic leads, I hope the filmmakers got it right. 17. A Christmas Charade. A mistaken blind date mix-up finds librarian Whitney involved in an undercover FBI investigation with Special Agent Josh. They are trying to identify and stop a potential theft of the Heart of Christmas necklace at the Christmas charity ball. Starring Rachel Skarsten and Corey Sevier, they are fantastic in this over-the-top holiday spy film. Hallmark doesn't take this movie seriously, and you shouldn't either. After all, it's a Christmas movie that is also an undercover FBI investigation and a Hallmark romance movie all rolled into one. On paper, it sounds awful, but I had so much fun with this film, I can look past all the silliness. The movie had a few twists at the end, which I will admit I didn't see coming on the first watch, but after a second viewing, should have seen it coming. Rachel Skarsten embraced a timid librarian who becomes invested in protecting the necklace, while Corey Sevier has the look of the spy who loves her. 16. Jingle Bell Run. Ashley Williams is Avery, a schoolteacher who's not looking for adventure in her life. Unbeknownst to her, her sister secretly signs her up for a Christmas-themed reality competition, The Great Holiday Dash, paired with Andrew Walker's former hockey player, Wes. Ashley Williams and Andrew Walker are the couple we should have seen years ago. They both have great comedic and romantic chemistry, yet Ashley's character was too subdued in the beginning. I'm not sure why we needed the reoccurring storylines of someone signing up a person for an event without their knowledge. It's dumb, and I would have preferred to see Avery interested from the very beginning. Now, I've never seen The Amazing Race, but I'm going to assume that it is more adventurous than The Great Holiday Dash. I enjoyed this movie, but when the movie shows footage of people being adventurous and the competition has the contestants hitting fruitcakes into a goal, you realize that the movie doesn't have the budget to actually portray the movie Hallmark hopes. However, the movie is still a fun watch, saved by the actors who are willing to embrace the silliness. 15. A Carol for Two. Violet, acted and sung by Jenna Claire Mason, moves to New York to star in a Broadway show that is shut down before it even starts. She takes a job at Fury's, a legendary theater district diner, famous for its singing waitstaff, hoping one day to make it onto Broadway. After an amazing performance of Oh Holy Night, she's given the big opportunity to sing a duet with Alex on Christmas Eve. A retelling of the Cyrano de Bergerac story combined with amazing musical performances saved this movie from some dumb storylines. For example, Violet not telling her father the show was shut down or having a place to live before she traveled to New York are glaring issues that are not needed. While I like the overall story, Brad felt out of place, and I question why Violet would tolerate such an obvious horrible human being. I can understand one bad decision going out with him, but to fall for him made no sense. That being said, the singing was wonderful, and I wish Hallmark would have taken the steps to make this an actual musical. 14. A 90s Christmas. Lucy is transported back to her childhood home in the year 1999 from a Christmas Eve rideshare. She relives that year with her mom, sister, and Matt, the boy next door who she also has a crush on. As she begins to change the past, she realizes that her life in the future is slowly changing when she returns back to the future. I was excited when I heard the name of this movie, but was disappointed it took place in 1999. While technically it's the 90s, I feel the year is past the nostalgia I was looking for. Take her back to 1992 or 1994. Now, I enjoyed the references to the 90s pop culture, especially the Friends reference when Matt refers to Lucy as his lobster.
Do you know why I call you Lobster? It's not because of the sunburn from camp. It's from Friends. In season 2, Phoebe says that the group needs to find their lobster because when a lobster finds a one, they stay together for life. And she says that Ross is Rachel's lobster, and that's what you are to me.
Because she's your lobster. Known fact that lobsters fall in love and mate for life. See? He's her lobster.
Eva Bourne and Chandler Massey have good chemistry together, and I just assume that every time travel movie must star Chandler from now on. Catherine Barrow, who is the love interest in Chandler's 2022 movie A Tale of Two Christmases, stands out as the rideshare driver Angel Grace. I wanted more of her and her time-traveling car. Two moments in this movie were beautifully done.
Wait, Mom. Since you're already here, there's something I want to talk to you about.
When Alex hooks Alexa comes out to her mother, you feel the acceptance. The other moment is that final montage where Lucy relives the life she didn't have as we see her get married, have children, and ultimately have a better life. "13. The Finish Line. Second-generation sled dog racer Anya travels to Finland to enter the race against her father's old rival Monty. When her lead dog is injured, she teams with former dog sled racer Cole, who loans her his lead dog and struggles to bring the canine team together. What a refreshing surprise this movie was. Filled with snappy, fun dialogue spoken by competent actors who have comedic timing. Kim Matula as Anya has continued to impress me with her films since Ghost of Christmas Always, and has become a new favorite of mine. She could also pull off those emotional moments that give us that Christmas feeling. While the film features a romance with Anya and Cole, the film is also about a daughter following in her father's footsteps and tackling dog sled racing. I don't know how accurate the film was regarding dog sled racing, but the dogs were cute and gave me some finished Christmas feels. While the green screen action shots looked pretty bad, the rest of the film was beautifully shot, and it let the story be the focus, not the location. 12. Our Holiday Story. Don't ask Dave and Nell how they met unless you are ready to hear the long story about missed connections. Nell's daughter's boyfriend makes that mistake when he first meets her parents as the two eagerly retell how fate brought them together as they plan the town festival. In the year where Hallmark has paired actors who have never worked together before, Warren Christie played Dave, who was incapable of writing a phone number down or realizing Nell, played by Nikki DeLoach, is a comptroller that makes his planning of the town's Christmas festival difficult. This was an inventive story that gave us two different love stories as we learn how Dave and Nell got together in a parallel with the relationship miscommunication struggles that Joe and Chris are currently having. The biggest accomplishment that this movie has is that Nikki DeLoach is finally in a fun Christmas movie that is not meant to make you cry or contains a dead grandparent. 11. Holiday Crashers. Best friends Tony and Bree begin to crash holiday parties, creating new identities and enjoying all of the party perks. Tony, who graduated from law school but is yet to take the bar, meets Justin, who offers her the opportunity to provide legal advice, ignoring a background check because of his attraction to her. At the same time, Bree is attracted to valet Vinny as she discovers a new career direction. While this movie sounded fun, I was concerned that the film would start as a woman friendship movie but quickly turn into a romance movie focusing on the main couple of Tony and Justin. This didn't happen, giving us a film with two strong female leads who each had their own stories but didn't sacrifice one for the other. Lindsay Fonseca is one of the newest Hallmark stars who has reliably brought a great Christmas movie every year. However, Danielle Monet is the star of this film, known for her work on the Nickelodeon show Victorious.
Right on top.
Sorry!
I hope Daniela gets her own Christmas film next year. 10. Christmas on Call. Sarah Canning plays emergency room Dr. Hannah, who begins to have a romance with EMT Wes, played by Cedarius Blaine. They both juggle their essential services jobs during the Christmas holiday. Set in Philadelphia, the movie explores life not only for doctors and EMTs, but also for police and fire departments. I like the buildup of the relationship of Hannah and Wes. Working together at the hospital, you slowly see the interest in him peak when they struggle to find time to get together. Eric Ethervale and Rena Jolly play police officers who give us some humor as they settle a neighborly dispute. At the same time, Paul Esabray plays Fire Chief Anderson, showing us the dangers firemen tackle in an impressive visual effects for a Hallmark film. If I had one complaint, it would be the unnecessary Donna Kelsey cameo, who works in the cleanest looking cheesesteak restaurant I've ever seen. Every year, there are a few Hallmark films based on the description I have low expectations for, and catch you off guard with how good they really are. Christmas on Call is a great look at the sacrifice essential workers have to make to protect and save our lives. 9. 'Twas the Date Before Christmas. Unlucky with dating since the death of her fiancé, Jessie's about to give up on finding love again until her family plans on canceling the traditional Chamberlain Family Christmas Olympics. Jessie lies to keep them from canceling and says she's bringing someone. She quickly meets Brian on a dating app, seeking someone to join her and pretend that they are a couple to her family. I was happy to see Amy Groening get her first lead role in a Hallmark film. She has played the best friend in countless Hallmark movies and always stood out above the rest of the cast. Robert Buckley and Amy had great chemistry, and you felt their attraction to each other and made a memorable first date. I love a great fake dating trope since most of the time they aren't believable, making the families dumb and not realizing the lie. However, this movie allowed the family to be suspicious, with her mother pulling Jessie aside and asking, "What's going on?" I found the solution for saving the candle store a bit much. After all, he owned the company. Just say you will work something out and enjoy the holiday, and don't pull your employee away from his family on Christmas Eve. I found the Christmas Olympics fun, but it's not something I would ever do. I like a nice, relaxing, lazy Christmas, watching movies like this one. 8. Christmas with the Sings. Asha Singh reconnects with her high school classmate Jake. They begin to date and get engaged a year later. Hoping to gain acceptance from her parents, Jake heads home with Asha to spend Christmas with her family. He quickly discovers that her father is difficult to impress, and the cultural differences become a challenge. I wasn't looking forward to this movie, but came away loving the pairing of Anya Josie and Benjamin Hollingsworth. I wanted to see this couple succeed, and I felt for Jake as he tried to impress his future father-in-law. Yes, he felt cruel at times, with Samuel having him eat spicy food and fall off the roof, but Jake stood his ground, and Samuel came around at the end. I love that the Hallmark explores relationships beyond just a couple. Christmas with the Sings explores the challenges of meeting your significant other's family for the first time. This isn't the first film to explore that this year, but it is the best. Earlier in this list, we got this awful movie To Have in a Holiday. That film also explores meeting your in-laws, but managed to make you hate the father as a villain and not someone protecting his daughter. 7. The Christmas Quest. Archaeologist Stephanie Baxter convinces her ex-husband Chase, a Norse language expert, to join the quest or treasure hunt for the legendary treasure of the Yule Lads. They travel to Iceland around Christmas in a race to secure the treasure, ignoring the advice to trust no one. The movies of Indiana Jones and the National Treasure films clearly inspired this fun Hallmark adventure movie. This is a bold step to tackle a treasure hunt movie, and I think they accomplished it. Following in her footsteps of archaeologist mother played by Erin Cahill, Lacey Chabert's Stephanie is the Indiana Jones type character and was a fun choice when they could easily have chosen Christopher Blaha to take the lead. The locations of this movie were spectacular. Old Hallmark would have tried to fake it with a bad green screen or some other kind of location. Not only were Lacey and Christopher on these locations, but they were beautifully shot. For as many movies that Lacey Chabert has done for Hallmark, it's hard to believe that she has never been paired with Christopher Blaha. The chemistry between these two is off the charts, especially that kiss. These two are two of the top actors on the channel, and based on the amazing locations, Hallmark spared no expense to put this fun adventure together. 6. 3 Wise Men and a Boy. The 3 wise men, Luke, Taylor, and Stephen, return to produce Thomas's school musical after destroying all of the sets. At the same time, the brothers learn that their mom Barbara has a new boyfriend named Roy.
Roy is very good with his hands.
Oh.
Set 5 years later, Taylor is now single until he meets himself in female form. Stephen can't commit to Susie and propose, and Luke has married Thomas's mom Sophie. The only interesting relationship is Taylor, falling for Aaron Carplug's Caroline. She and Tyler Hines work so well together and have great chemistry. Paul Campbell's Stephen still hasn't proposed, but Fiona Vroom's Susie is barely in the film. Then Sophie, who abandoned Thomas in the first film, leaves him again for a work function. What we do get is a fun storyline with Pastor Roy, who is good with his hands.
Let me guess. Cut it down with your own 2 hands?
Yeah, I did, actually.
And the 3 actors who love working together, portraying brothers who look nothing like each other. This was the sequel that we've been waiting for, and it turned out to be worth the wait. While it wasn't perfect, you can tell that Tyler, Andrew, and Paul Campbell are having fun. 5. 5-Year Christmas Party. Alice, played by Kate Findlay, is a struggling college theater student attracted to Max, played by Jordan Fisher, a fellow actor. She's hired at a catering company, unaware that Max also works for the company during the holidays. Over 5 years, Alice and Max reconnect at Christmas, sometimes just as friends, and sometimes more. Last year's Sealed with a List was my introduction to Kate Findlay. They instantly became one of my favorite new Hallmark stars, and I was excited for this film. Jordan Fisher, who I was not familiar with, had great chemistry with Kate, together as a couple and as friends. I saw a lot of hate because of her hairstyle or the height difference, but if you're nitpicking these traits, shame on you. I love the story of this movie. It wasn't about planning an event or saving the town bakery, it was life. People spend years working towards their careers and struggle to find love and make connections at the same time. Finding a career sometimes takes people in different directions. Typically, Hallmark has someone, often the woman, sacrificing her career for the man. That didn't happen. It took 5 years, but they eventually got together in the end. 4. Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story. Kansas City Chiefs superfan Alana, played by Hunter King, and her family are the front runners in a contest to win the label Fan of the Year. Derek, played by Tyler Hines, is the director of fan engagement, tasked with evaluating the family who believes that wearing her grandfather's magical winter Chiefs hat will lead to a Super Bowl victory. Hallmark has been previewing this movie for months, and I was unsure if it would live up to the hype. Luckily, it did. What makes this movie work better than so many other Hallmark movies is good writing by Julie Sherman-Wolf and a spectacular cast.
Hey, is it okay if I sit in Grandma Patty's seat?
Of course. I was just sitting here thinking of all the wonderful memories we've had over the years. And it all started right here. Your grandma be so proud of you. I miss her so much.
I miss her too, Grandpa.
Tyler Hines and Hunter King's chemistry was so good they should have gotten a room. The secondary cast of Diedrich Bader, Megan Price, and Ed Begley Jr. makes you care about this family. After the magic hat is stolen, Alana begins to question her relationship with Derek. Before the game, a Chief fan gives her some advice that changes her mind, and decides to go to the game without the magic hat.
Let's go, Chiefs! Got Richard Christie, Baba Booey.
I don't care about football, and I roll my eyes when I see superfans go over the top in rooting for their favorite team. It's not for me, and there's an argument that my love of Christmas is a valid comparison. But that being said, I love this movie, and I found myself rooting for the family. Although Patrick Mahomes easily could have won. 3. Santa Tell Me. Erin Krakow is Olivia, an interior designer turned host of a home improvement television show, finds a letter from Santa promising she will find the love of her life by Christmas Eve, named Nick. The next day, she meets 3 different guys, all named Nick, and proceeds to date all 3, but finds herself attracted to her producer, Chris. What is fun about this movie is the silliness of her dating all of the different Nicks. It's clear Benjamin Ayres, Christopher Russell, and Kirk Cizarka had fun portraying Nick A, B, and C. The fight between the 3 when they discover that each have been dating Olivia was hysterical, and each actor took their role over the top. I know fans were excited at the reunion of Erin and her When Calls the Heart co-star Daniel Lissing. I've never seen the show, but it's clear that they have chemistry. 2. The Santa Class. The North Santa School is struggling to stay relevant, while the owner's daughter, Kate, played by Kimberly Sustad, has now taken over after her dad's retirement. She reluctantly hires Dan, played by Benjamin Ayres, as a new Santa instructor when they come across an amnesia-stricken Santa Claus. They hope he can regain his memory and allow the Santa School to finally win the Christmas Cup. I love the traditional hot cocoa small-town Christmas romance stories, but this is what I look forward to every year from Hallmark. The Big Magical Santa Story. Written by Alexander Kokis, Joseph Kellaby, and Russell Hainline, who had an impressive 4 Christmas movies this year. Along with the actors, The Santa Claus is a funny magical film that stands out from most of the 50 Christmas movies from this year. While Kimberly and Benjamin have great chemistry together, the real standouts are the Santa actors. Nick is the perfect Santa right down to his Santa laugh.
Well, I'll tell you what, Emily, why don't you check in Santa's bag here and see what you find. Is that him?
Be headed your way?
Thank you.
Megan is a no-nonsense female Santa.
Megan Jansen. I want to be a Santa. That's it.
I hate to interrupt, but wouldn't you traditionally be better suited to be Mrs. Claus?
Don't want to be Mrs. Claus. If I want to be Santa, I will be Santa.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Blaze, Timothy, and Patrick aid in the silliness. And we can't forget about television's Paul Campbell, who clearly embraced his wacky portrayal of himself.
He's been wearing an outfit like this. Something that showcases his sleek but well-toned physique that he worked so hard on. He's not eating salads for breakfast 7 days a week for nothing, you know what I mean?
No, I don't actually.
And the number 1 2024 Hallmark movie is Sugar Plum. Maggie Lawson is Emily, a married mom of 2 who wishes her family could have a picture-perfect Christmas and follow her checklist.
I wish, more than anything, for a Christmas where my family feels more connected. One that is magical and amazing.
Her wish is answered when her favorite Christmas movie character Sugar Plum steps out of the screen and arrives in the real world. Over the last few years, Hallmark has included meta jokes in their movies, and it's everything I want.
It was a gift from the Prince of Armstrongia one magical Christmas Eve. He said that their sparkles reminded him of my eyes.
Well, I've never seen anything even remotely like it outside of a movie.
That's a lot of princes.
You'd be surprised how many of them are just walking around disguised as commoners, especially at Christmas time.
The character of Sugar Plum is a carbon copy of the rom-com characters Hallmark women portray. She has numerous careers that change at Christmas, dates royal princesses in disguise, and saves a tree farm from the big bad real estate developer. Janelle Parrish has the role of the year as Sugar Plum. She is spectacular, and I want to see future films with this magical character.
But I have had quite a few jobs back home in perfection. I've been a reindeer farmer, a gingerbread architect. Oh, one time I was a nutcracker repair specialist.
Are those real jobs?
No, they are not real jobs. Ones that no person has unless they are a character in a Christmas movie, and they do not spread wonder and joy throughout the holidays at all.
Maggie Lawson plays it very grounded for a woman who is interacting with a perfect Christmas character.
You're real? As real as your checklist.
Sugar Plum is funny, charming, filled with great cameos, and is heartwarming at the end. It's easily the best Hallmark movie of 2024.
Is it just me, or does Sugar Plum look a little familiar?
So that's my ranking of the 2024 Hallmark Christmas films. Do you agree with me, or do you think I made the wrong choices? Well, tell me in the comments below. This has been an okay year for Christmas movies. A good portion of them are good, but only a few that I consider spectacular. Perhaps 50 is too many, and maybe we should focus on quality and not quantity. I'm the Christmas aficionado, and remember, stay off the naughty list.
What kind of business is it?
Ski lodge most of the time.
And the rest of the time?
It's a Christmas tree farm.
A local business is at risk, and it's a cozy winter lodge that grows Christmas trees, and it's being threatened by a heartless business executive right before Christmas. This is where I thrive. I can help.
No, you can't, because this is the real world, and I already have enough on my plate.